Hey everybody, it's Coach Doug, and I'm here for a midday COVID chat with Coach Doug, and it's really cool because the girl I'm talking to today is all the way in the Emerald Isle, the one and only Zoe Allen. And hi Andrew, how are you, my man? Hey Brendan, nice to see you guys. Thanks for making it. Who's gonna be first on here? Oh, Laura wins the battle. She gets on before Michelle and Brad. Nope, I gotta give. I don't know, Michelle. I didn't see you get on there sooner. Anyways, here comes the one and only. I hope my buddy and my colleague. Here she is, straight from the Emerald Island, the one and only Zoe Allen Golf. There she is.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Awesome. That's great. What's the weather like today in Lurgan?
Do you know it was actually we've had great weather this last couple of weeks, but today it rained all day, and
Right?
it's just actually turned really nice this afternoon or this evening.
All right, get away all the highs. Okay, so Laura, Michelle, Carrie, Moffat, Colin Bykowski, they're all on here, all waving at you. So make sure
Oh,
you all say hello. Oh, Anna Dilletta from Italy, she's
yeah.
there. Yeah.
Ciao, Anna.
I get the big draw with you. It's pretty awesome. So it's kind of cool. Mariana from Colombia, she just logged on. That's very cool.
Yeah.
You're
Very
kind of
good.
a big deal.
I don't know about that.
Oh, I think so.
No, I don't think so.
I think a few people might think so.
So
Uh,
tell me, how have you been? Good.
I've been really good. You know what? This little project of mine has been a really cool labor of love. I don't know. It's just something that I'm really enjoying, and I've gotten a lot of people on. And I mean, it stretches my imagination on what questions I can ask. So you're in for some doozies, and it also makes me do a little homework. And but I'm busy with online lessons. I'm averaging about 3 to 4 a day.
Which is good.
Uh, yeah, so keeping the kids busy, doing about 30 minutes. Then some want to do two a week, like your buddy Alexa. She
Yeah.
on Thursdays and Saturdays, and we do a quick half hour, and
Okay.
it's good to keep that connection. And how about
Yeah.
you? Like, how are you staying in connection with your kids?
Yeah, to be honest, well, I actually saw Doug the lesson you gave earlier. Are the kids still out on the golf course? Were you
No,
guys?
no, we're on lockdown. Actually,
Okay.
our premier, so like who runs the province, similar like the state governor, he came on Monday and he didn't open anything up. We've been on for about 6 weeks now. Everything's been shut down,
Okay.
and so we've been having to do everything inside. It's amazing the fortitude that these kids. Now, it's really interesting because having been in the northern climates, a lot of my kids have indoor,
Facility.
stuff,
Yeah.
right? And it's really kind of cool. So I think this is where being Canadian actually helps in this because we actually have some things. But I would have loved to
Yeah.
have been a GolfNet distributor at when
I
this
know.
all went down.
I know.
How about you? What's going on in the Emerald?
So yeah, so something similar. We're kind of all golf courses are closed. We're all restricted on lockdown, if you like. So you're only allowed out if once a day for exercise and to go and buy essentials. So like pharmacies are open and supermarkets are open, but that's it.
Oh, see that we're not even like we're not being told okay you can go out once for exercise like my wife and I mean my wife hasn't really been out of the house. I'm the only one who go do the groceries like
Yeah,
if I have to go to the pharmacy like you said or
you'll
or
go. Yeah,
run errands or maybe pick up some food, right, from some takeaway
yeah,
or something like that, right? But
yeah,
we're trying to support at least once a week. We're trying to support some local
which is
uh,
good.
companies with some food, right, and trying to help them and support and a lot of connections with a lot of my buddies, a lot of my friends,
Yeah,
right? Like
that's
Brad and everybody, like
yeah,
constantly like talking and all that stuff. So,
yeah, which is nice because you don't normally get time to do that. Yeah,
well, that's just it. I said to somebody the other day, I'd say I'd probably talk to Brad, Lawrence. I'd probably talk to him on the way home from work most nights, or my buddy Brad Ryle. I'd probably talk to them on the way in.
yeah,
So it's kind of different, right? It's how you making it work.
yeah.
And I
So
mean,
yeah,
what
we're asking like I'm not taking any online lessons as such, but staying in contact, putting out
true,
like a weekend challenge each week, and just doing different things. So
cool,
we've kind of been in lockdown now for what we're probably on week 5, yeah, week 6, probably something similar. So
sure.
kind of really enjoyed the first week having a bit of time, and then all of a sudden you're like, no, I have to keep myself golf busy, and so I've been sort of doing different wee things.
What about your fiance? What's he doing to keep him busy?
Going mad. No, he's trying to stay active. He's actually started doing yoga. Once
Namaste.
so he does some yoga. He'll always train. So he has, bits of equipment at home. He'll do a bit of that and also walking. He's only walking like 10K every day. So
Is
yeah,
he
he's trying.
but is he making you do it? Hey, Avery Swag, what a cool. Hey, Avery, nice to see you.
Is he making me do it? No, not at all. No, I did get a delivery though. It's good whenever perks when you get a heavy kettlebell and a dumbbell, delivered and a few resistance bands and
Nice.
so it's good. But I've been doing different things, Doug. I kind of will start a program and really enjoy it for 1 week, and then the next week I'll be like, I want to change a bit. So I've kind of been doing
Cool.
different things. So, but
That's awesome. All right, so for everybody who's tuning in, drum roll, please. I really don't think she needs an introduction, but this wonderful human being on the other side of this COVID chat is Zoe Allen. She's from Lurgan, Northern Ireland. We've known each other for approximately 5-6 years now.
yeah.
And you know what? You are a U.S. Kids Master Top 50 coach. You are the head teaching professional at the Lurgan Golf Club. You are a TPI Level 2 certified trainer. You are the tour director for the Irish U.S. Kids Tour.
Yeah.
As well as you are also, claim to fame, you were able to bring the Irish Open, U.S. Kids Irish Open, which was supposed to happen this year. You brought it to happen. You've also traveled the world. U.S. Kids brings you all over the world to run events, and it's a testament to the fact that you are and have created yourself this amazing ability to be such an engaging, wonderful, and great coach. So hats off to you.
Thank you, Doug.
Yes.
Thanks.
From Colombia. Nice to see you.
Okay.
All right. So this makes the 4th Irish coach that I've had on my COVID chats. I'm gonna actually he's on here right now is my boy Steve Moe. He's a transplanted Irishman as well. He's probably gonna get on here at some point. So there'll be 5 Irish people. What is Ireland like?
Wow.
Is it the luck of the Irish that explains about the Irish bringing out such great coaches? I've had Tristan Mullally, Garrett Rafleski, that Holmes chick, and now you, right? I mean, what was the tipping point for you to become a coach?
Well, I suppose I always played golf growing up. I started playing golf sort of from the age of 12, something that I really enjoyed. But in terms of what made me, what was the deciding factor in becoming a coach, I obviously started my PGA training, not really sure, wanting to work in golf, but not really sure that coaching was the way to go. But I suppose the pro that I trained under, he gave me a lot of opportunity to coach. So in a way, that was quite nice. I was never really was never forced to do it. He kind of was like, you can do as much as you like or as little as you like, and sort of give me free reign of the junior program at our club, which Lurgan Golf Club. So that kind of helped because it sort of meant, it was my little project. I got to sort of, figure out where I wanted to go with it. So I suppose in being given that freedom, that kind of gave me the chance to explore the coaching side of things. Whereas I guess I feel some pros in their training are kind of directed or instructed by a pro, whereas I wasn't. I was, given, the opportunity to really do whatever I want. So it was good that way, that he was Peter Hanna was very supportive and let me sort of, so I guess starting from that point, obviously really enjoyed what I was doing. And then I was obviously still working in his pro shop, but then started to get slightly busier, and yourself, when you're trying to juggle doing shop hours, trying to teach.
Oh,
I was nearly turning down lessons at a point whenever I couldn't fit them in, which was great. So
Sure.
I'll never forget the day that I went to him, and at the end of the day, he was going to lose me as as an employee. But I sort of put it to him, "What do you think if I go teaching full time?" And he was like, "Are you sure? Do you think you're ready?" And but at the same time, he was very supportive. So he did tell me that, "Go ahead, give it a go. But if I found that it wasn't quite going the way I planned, that he would have me back and he would have me come work in the shop." So thankfully, I didn't have to go
back. It's been like,
yeah. But
I'm out.
Yeah, but it was good. I always, will help cover the odd time, and which is nice. So we're still, very close. He's the head running the shop at the facility, and he's quite happy to let me do all the teaching. So yeah, so it works.
The really cool part about that is I think leaders, show their colors in various different ways in mentoring young professionals and young people when they can see where their fit might be. All right, to have that that I could say looking into the crystal ball with you standing in front of him in his shop, you know, he knew giving you the reins of this junior program, like it was going to be, you know, a catalyst for you to be able to, and you know what, he probably did it with some trepidation and going, you know what, I think I might just lose this girl eventually, right? But you know, I'm sure I would have loved to seen the look on his face when you came in and told him that, but he probably was more worried for you than actually worried about his, you know, what was going to happen to him in his shop, right?
Yeah, 100%, because it was very genuine. He really was like, you know, do you think there's a market for, obviously I predominantly coach say 80% juniors to 20% adults, and you know, he asked me, he was like, is there a market for it here? Do you think it's really going to, you know, going to take off? And I was like, well, it's one of those ones you'll never know unless you try. But
right,
I think given the opportunity to try, I kind of felt like, you know, I can't mess this up, it has to work. So you're trying to structure your time and get the programs out there that you feel are going to be filled. You're going to have to try and, you know, cater for
right,
you know, young beginners, the intermediate, the more advanced players. So it was really trying to find the way to make it work and to make myself busy, if you like.
Well, you know what, it's an interesting point. So this is an interesting question for you, because you kind of started with nothing. You didn't know how this was going to go. No. So you had to lean on a few people. I mean, it was really great that Pete Hanna was able to, you know, hey, push you forward, give that opportunity. But where did you learn the programming side of things? Where did you, you know, who were some of the other people that you leaned on to really, you know, give you that edge so that you felt more confident coming back and running these programs?
Yeah. Well, the funny story, I'm sure you've heard this one many times before, but Michelle Holmes, she invited me over one summer. So it was right after I got home from Michelle that I made the decision, you know, I'm going to teach full time. So I'm sure Peter was thinking, you know, flip, I let her take off in the summer for a couple of weeks. She's now back home, which is telling me she's already. So yeah, so it was really, Michelle invited me over. We'd never met before.
I was going to say, you'd never met before. Yeah. And then I remember she said, Dan said to her, says, well, what if I like her? Right? Or what if you don't like her? She goes, what are the chances of that? But you're like, all right, back from the airport, you guys are like friends, right?
So it was funny. I'll never forget it the night, like myself, Michelle, and Laura, her sister, we were all just standing kind of chatting.
The trouble one of the family. Yes, go ahead.
Small world, yeah. But yes, no, we'd never met before. So yeah, she invited me over. She'd seen that I was trying to kind of set up a junior program at home. And, you know, her school is huge and was ever growing. So she kind of invited me over, busy time in the summer. But again, I had to go to Peter and ask for time off. Well, time off, but I told him where I was going, obviously.
Right.
And fully supportive. He says, yeah, it sounds great. I think you should go. So like our busy time in Ireland, obviously being in the summer. So I took off. He let me go for 4 weeks. So yes, that was a big help. So obviously all Michelle's team, Michelle, Dan, Coach Scott, and Michelle's sister, as we mentioned, Laura. It was great getting to spend time with, you know, all 4 coaches in our school. They all do things a wee bit different. So I got to spend time with each of them, run programs with each of them, and really got to, you know, I'm sure I asked her 101 questions a day. How do you set up a program? What do you do when a junior comes in, complete beginner? You know, so we really just chatted golf for 4 weeks.
So cool. But I mean, you're in the trenches, teaching, you got to see how it worked. And I mean, the really interesting part about this is you guys knew each other from talking on Facebook. Yeah. And the really wild thing is that you guys hadn't met each other, both from Ireland, but hadn't met each other.
Yeah.
And the other really cool part about this was that you actually said, yeah, you know what, I'm going to come over.
I know.
And you took her up on her offer.
Yeah.
And the really wild part about this whole thing is it's those opportunities that happen to people that just are the tipping point to right? Yeah. Now you are a full-time teaching professional. You've worked it. I mean, Mr. Hanna's watching you soar. But it's a really interesting part, because here's an interesting thing that I've always thought. Like, you are a blonde, blue-eyed Irish woman, you know, and not to mention a good-looking one at that. But I'm just saying that from a standpoint of you're working in a business that is typically male-dominated, especially on the Emerald Isle, where you as a teaching professional, you know, it's really not something that is normal. So what have been some of your strategies to help you get through this? Because I noticed you started this initiative last year with the Irish Golf Federation, and it was about you and 4 other women. And I
Yep.
thought it was a cool thing. But can you help share some of these strategies that you've done to get past that men's club?
Yeah. So the program that myself and there's 6 female pros are involved. So it's called the Level Power Project, sort of in conjunction with Sport Ireland. So it's really more, it actually, forget about the men, it's an initiative for girls and females. So it's actually quite exciting that they've got six female pros to try and see how we can grow the game, more females, girls and ladies in. But it's an interesting question you're saying about, being a male dominated sport. Of course it is. Like, even our ratio memberships at the club that, I would teach out of. And in terms of, trying to break it down, adults teaching females and teaching males, I kind of look at it that I teach everyone the same. I kind of go with the same approach. But in saying that, obviously, the chat and the conversation you have with the ladies is slightly different to the men. And,
Sure.
I can't say I've ever kind of seen it as a problem. Teaching males, but I get it. Sometimes, men just prefer men. Even whenever I was doing my training in the shop, I'll never forget one day a man walks in through the door, sees me behind the counter, and he's like, "Oh, is Peter not here today?" And I'm like, "Oh no, he's actually, he's away this afternoon. Can I help you?" I was just looking at a new grip on my putter, and I was like, "Yeah, no problem. I can do that." And the look on his face was like, "You can actually put a grip on my putter." And I was like, yeah, if you like me to. So it's funny because I sometimes think, like,
Oh, sure.
Being in the industry, men sometimes don't think we're as fully qualified as what the male pro is. So yeah, there's been a few times like that, but I don't really let that bother me. You just kind of brush it off and get on with it. Yeah, but it's interesting though, like any of the programs and stuff. Like, I would always run a ladies get into golf program every year, and we'd have probably between 16 to 20 ladies. They'll do an 8-week program, and then the majority of them will then sign up to the club, and it's great fun. Doug, you'd love it. The last night we always have a Prosecco night. It's the best night. Yeah, sometimes I actually think that's why some of the ladies sign up, because
it really is why they just want the Prosecco at the end.
Yeah, but it's interesting too, because we tried to do something similar, in a meal version of it. Didn't work at all.
No.
Men aren't that thing at all. Group lessons, forget it.
Social thing, right? The women really like the social thing.
Correct.
And I mean, I've seen my colleague who I worked with for the last 4 years, she would do a sip and swing, where it'd be like an hour and a half. She'd set up some stations. And I mean, she had like 3 stations full of 18 women in one evening, charge, $25 a head. I mean, that's, and once she pays the percentage, she's still making a great, she's making a killing. And the women loved it because they just go through stations, right? They go through it all. And it's just amazing because that sociability of getting away and, hey, I get to hang out with my friends.
Yeah, definitely.
Right?
Yeah. I suppose in terms of coaching, man, I've just kind of got on with it the way, you just kind of get on with your professional mannerisms, I guess. And, a lesson's a lesson in a way. But it's funny. I do sometimes think, though, that, well, the way I look at it, whether it be a male or a female, people are drawn to people. So I think if you're going to click with some people and you're going to not click with other people, people are going to like you as a coach and get you, or they're not. So I kind of don't really look at it as, okay, a male will want a male coach. Sometimes that is the case, but not always necessarily. It just depends, I think.
Well, and actually the shoe's on the other foot for, like, women taking lessons from a female professional feel like they always want to go see a female,
that's
right? Go see a male, right? Don't want to feel that dominant, personality and stuff like that. So it does vary, but I appreciate the sharing, and I love that grip story. That was pretty awesome.
But like, I was just left standing like, all right, talk about feeling
I
but
love it.
You know what? I was glad I actually, kind of pulled him on it, because he was a bit like, oh really? I was like, yeah, I can do it. And actually, in fact, I'll do it right now. You can wait, and I'll do it right now. And he's like even more impressed. So yeah, it's funny.
That's fabulous. So one of the cool things about you, and we've had the opportunity to hang out at the World Championships, and but if anybody goes on your Instagram, I mean, you are at the Christmas, you're at the Christmas Classic, you're at, you go to the Scottish Open, you go to the Venice Open. You are kind of like the import. Somehow someone at US Kids kind of thinks you're pretty great. No names mentioned. We know who that is. But it's okay for he who will not be named. But the really cool part is they look to you to go into these places and run the tournaments. And it's a really interesting point because you, like I said earlier, you had just secured the Irish Open for, a regional event in Ireland.
Yeah.
Which was hard. What's harder to do? Is it harder to go into like Venice or West Palm and run those events, or is it harder to get one started in your own country?
Hey, that's a great question. One of the first events I did work was actually the Europeans, which is in Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
So if you like, for want of a better word, one of the first events kind of thrown in at the deep end, right? So I'd worked a few local tours with Michelle and Laura, but never actually one of my own. So in a way, I'd seen how it worked on the local scale, the smaller scale, but then boom, the first one I was working at was a relative, a regional event as such.
Oh yeah, so, big one. Yeah, it's big.
Yeah, so I want to say I actually was very lucky for my first local tour event because Laura was back in Ireland that weekend. I'm not sure you know this. I'll never forget it. I'm sitting at my desk trying to, print the scorecards. And when you're doing all of that on your own, because sort of the higher up events, you have US Kids support staff, whereas in the local event, you're on your, you're on your own. You get all the materials, but you're running the show solely on your own. You don't have anyone above you. So I'll never forget the day I was sitting trying to do the scorecards and do the draw. And, the first time it's pretty daunting, not off, never off the phone to Michelle and Laura. Laura rang me. Now, I knew she was at home in Ireland, but bear in mind, where I live and where they live, their home in Ballina, County Mayo, is 4 hours from here.
Whatever you just said, yes. Okay, cool.
Well, so it's a long time away. So Laura rang me and she was like, oh yeah, I know your first event's tomorrow. Just wondering, did you want an extra set of helping hands? And hey, Doug, couldn't believe it. I was like, really? And she's like, yeah, I'll come up. So Laura and her mother and father and Katie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The 4 of them all traveled up. So that was brilliant because, bear in mind, all the stuff printed more or less ready to go, but Laura just kind of sat with me and went through it all. And so in terms of, you're asking me which is easier, I want to say a local tour, you're really the main, you're the firing line, you're the one person to contact. But then again, there are a lot of families that Mm-hmm. So in a way, that's all's good whenever everything runs good. But again, then you're the firing line, or you're in the firing line of something, if there's maybe a disagreement or
course, right? You got to get the courses, you got to get them to agree to host it. Yeah. Do they understand the splits, and are they willing to, do that? Because sometimes, when you're in a revenue generated business, they don't necessarily want to give up but your team, but hold on, it's empty. Why wouldn't you want to have some revenue, right? It's often baffling.
So I want to say probably, this is my 3rd year now of the US Kids North of Ireland local tour. So I want to say the first year was probably the hardest because you're not only trying to, explain to everyone what it is, but yes, you're trying to convince them to give you the golf courses. You're trying to do all of that. Whereas second year was getting gradually easier. And this year, getting the courses, I had a list of courses that hadn't been on it that were dying to get on it. So
really, that's amazing.
There's even still a couple that we didn't manage to. And in previous years, I kind of had doubled up, one in the spring and one in the fall. But this year, I actually had 12 completely different courses.
Wow.
And then there was still 2 that I know I didn't get. So I was like, next year we'll definitely, get on it. So I guess a local tour, more difficult to kind of get set up in a way. And you are the one in the firing line. Whereas whenever you kind of look at the bigger events,
right.
I want to say, don't get me wrong, you're still in control and you're still responsible. But in a way, there is a couple of people up above you, so it's kind of nice to go to them if you like.
Yeah.
No, Doug, I love working all those events. So yeah, the Europeans.
You're good at it, right?
Fantastic. Yeah, and it's great getting to see all the same players again, and they remember you, and the parents remember you, and it's really nice just kind of catching up in different countries if you like.
Right. Well, you know what the really great part about it is, you have one of my players at the Worlds you were running the 10-year-olds and she was there and she was having a little bit of an issue, and you were able to help her out because of the heat. And it was really, it was like she just absolutely fell in love with you, like adored you from the start. And it was great because at the, the closing ceremony, you got to see her and she was all right. you got a hug and a picture, and then
Yeah.
the best part about it is that Christmas,
I couldn't believe it. I never thought she was going to be there. It was, I
right?
think,
Hey,
we're like,
it's
in
so
shock.
cool.
Yeah, it was lovely. It was
It's
really
really Alexa. If you're on here, Alexa, I know that she's such a big fan of yours, and when she saw the post because I tagged her in it, she was super excited to see you because you just. But this is the one thing I say about you. You are so engaging, and on your Instagram, it's just filled with smile after smile after smile. Kids instantly love you, and that story there is just a small little microcosm of the effect you have on children and how you bring it to them. And it says, why does being a junior coach motivate you so much?
Why does it motivate me? That's a good question. Why does it motivate me? I guess how you're describing it in terms of, meeting Alexa, and the two of us obviously got on very well, and, there were smiles going back and forward. I guess I enjoy what I do because I see what it does to others, if that makes sense. I can see that, like, they're enjoying it and having fun. And I suppose too, I look back, like, I only started when I was 12. So these kids are now coming for lessons and they're 3 and 4 and 5. And I'm like, this is so cool. Like, imagine getting to do this and play golf and make a friend. And,
Hey.
so I suppose I'm trying to, give them an experience that I didn't have as young, but also you can see that they're enjoying it and see that they're having fun. So I suppose that in a way motivates me to, to become better, to train in different things, to always try and not necessarily expand, but try and give more, if you like. So I guess it's really them that motivate me. But in terms of how did I get to that point, it's a tricky one. I enjoy what I do. It doesn't really seem like work. It's fun. It's a lot of different.
But it seems like work, right? When it becomes work, then you realize that you're maybe not enjoying it as much as you think you should. Right? I mean, if you were to take a poll of you, me, Michelle, Colin, Brad, all that stuff, I mean, to a man, Brody, I mean, all of us would come back and say it doesn't feel like work, right?
No,
it doesn't work. So it's really interesting because this just leads right into your little catchphrase, right? And I love it. And I think this kind of frames why you do what you do, right? And it's to teach is to touch a life forever, right? Mm-hmm. And I mean, to teach kids, you're touching their lives, to give them the opportunity to play this game for the rest of their lives and enjoy it, whatever avenue they take.
Yeah. Whether that be, tournament golf, whether they're getting into it seriously or whether they're just joining it as an extra hobby because their mom, dad, and grandparents play, or whatever it might be.
All right. Cool. All right. It's that time. My fast five.
Yeah, I'm nervous.
What's coming? This is the part. This is the best part of the interviews because the fast five are make you think, and you got it. Michelle loves this part, so she. I kind of got creative with these ones. All right.
So are they one-word answers or no?
Oh no, you're gonna have to answer the questions. Okay. All right. Beer, vodka, shots, wine, Irish whiskey, all of the above.
All of the above. Hey, you could have answered that for me.
I want everybody else to know. Oh my gosh. All right. Who plays the lead role? Who plays you in the Zoe Allen movie?
Who plays me? Jeepers. Who plays me in the Zoe Allen movie?
Yeah, who's the movie star you're gonna get play you?
Can it be totally far-fetched?
Anybody.
Do you know who I really like?
Who?
J-Lo. Could she play me?
J-Lo.
Yeah. Did you see her halftime? What?
Only just for the dance moves. Somehow you'd figure it out how to do something like the Colin Bykowski, the Dragon Lady. That's it's the Daenerys.
Okay. Targaryen. There you go.
No, I got it.
Is that a compliment, that one? I'll take it.
I think it is. Colin? But no, Scarlett Johansson.
Oh yeah. Okay. I'll take that too.
There you go. All right. So this is awesome because I think this is a great question. All right. So you're engaged, you're gonna get married. So we're at the wedding. You guys have had your first, nice slow song. What's the song to kick off this party?
What's the song to kick off this party? Do you know an all-time favorite of mine?
What's that?
Shakira, Waka Waka. Love that song.
Really?
Yeah. Do you like
Say,
it?
say that again.
Shakira. You know the
Oh,
song
Shakira,
Waka Waka?
Shakira. See, it's so funny, the accent. I don't know who you're saying, right? It's like
Yeah,
Shakira.
that is a great party tune. Yeah, that's a
No,
good one.
that's an awesome one. All right, here's a good one. Dan Van Horn just announced that he's retiring. There's been a worldwide search for his replacement. It's down to you, Michelle Holmes, and Maureen Olson. All right.
Okay.
Why they chose you?
Why they chose me to take
Yeah.
his role?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's a good one. I was going to say because I'm Irish, but Michelle is too, so that doesn't count. Let's
You can
see.
say younger. Oh, sorry.
I could. Hey, she might kill me after that one. Okay, yeah.
No, don't go away.
Gosh, I really don't know. Why would they choose me? I was
I'm
going to
making.
say Anna. She has too. She hasn't been.
I just thought because I was thinking because you're just so world traveled
There you go.
and know all the operations that it would be a simple role to walk into.
Yeah, well, that is a. Yeah, I don't know. You see, it's funny. I don't think like you give me those three myself, Michelle and
Well,
Maureen, and I'm like, the first thing I'll be like, hey, they're well more qualified than I am, so I'll be second in command, no problem. Yeah, that's an interesting one, Doug.
all right. Lastly,
Go on.
what would Zoe Allen be doing if you weren't a world-class golf coach?
Well, I'm not sure that you know this. I'd hate to be doing this, but I I do have a degree in accounting.
Really?
Did you? Yeah. So part of me thinks, so I finished my degree and I never went on to become, fully certified chartered accountant.
Certified, yes, but go ahead.
Because I kind of went down the golf route after that. So in a way, if I didn't have golf and didn't have time to play golf whenever I was, 23, 24, maybe that's where I would have been.
Ooh, that's a lot more boring.
I know.
No thing, eh? Imagine.
Can you imagine? I know.
No chance.
So yeah, maybe that's where I would have been. I'm not sure.
All right. So now I get to spring a really cool surprise question on you. The Fast Five are great, but this is like I dig a little digging, got to look into my investigations. I do a little homework, right?
Okay.
All right.
Love this.
So, the lore in Lurgan is that the Allens tend to like to partay, and you guys have been known to throw really good themed parties. Okay.
Yeah.
What, and some have been absolutely unbelievable. So what were the most memorable theme parties that your family put on in your hometown?
In my hometown. Okay. We had, one of my sisters, my older sister, I'm not sure that you've met her, my sister Carrie, she has a great Mexican friend, and he had come to stay, I want to say it was actually maybe 5 or 6 years ago, so we threw a Mexican party. Now, the Mexican party was proper Mexican because obviously he was there, and crazy. Elbow shots and everything, Doug. Have you ever done that before?
No.
So he taught us how you set a shot on your right here on your elbow. This hand has to touch here, and without the glass dropping, you got to try and tilt it in. We'll have to try that next show.
Okay.
No, that was probably one of the most memorable parties, and we always go out. So like the food's going to be Mexican, the drink's going to be Mexican. Funny thing is, actually, my dad just had a birthday 2 weeks ago, and obviously we're in lockdown, so we decided to have a Mexican party that night as well. Just the four of us that are here at home, but yeah, we'll always have. And actually, there was a surprise party here one night as well.
Oh.
Here after, I think it was my second US Kids Award. So we're just having a bit of a gathering here in our house, and there was no theme that night. So I just get, put on my normal, get dressed up and whatever. And all of my family and friends arrived in golf gear.
Wow.
So they were all dressed up as golfers, and there's me in my jeans and my top thinking, so that was good fun. So that
those are great memories. It's awesome that you can pull on such really awesome memories. And I mean, I met your parents; they're just super awesome people, right? And I mean, it goes the same with Michelle and Laura's parents as well. They're you guys are just, I can't believe, like, they're, you know, little old, tiny bit older than me, but they're like go hard, right? I'm like, wow.
Oh yeah.
I was like blown away.
Yeah. But it's great we all get to spend time together like that, though.
True.
You know, it's
I
good
agree.
fun.
I agree. So you've recently become engaged to, let me get the name right, Rory? Is it Rory?
Yeah, perfect.
Rory,
Yeah. Yeah, it's
right?
just like, you know, the name Rory, but it's the Irish spelling of it. So sometimes
Yes, Ruairi.
that's it. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So he's a personal trainer, as you said, right? He owns his own, co-owns his own fitness facility and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So when do you introduce any little physical stuff to your athletes in your programming?
So I suppose there's a lot of you know, fundamental movement skills from doing, you know, all the TPI stuff. So really any of my group sessions, there's always a little bit of that, whether it be jumping, hopping, skipping, and that's from, you know, the minions, the 3 and 4 year olds, my youngest classes. So most groups there'll be a little bit of that. Now in terms of, you know, what we would specialize in, you know, mainly strength and conditioning and stuff like this, we'll often kind of have a chat as to what age really should they start to do golf specific training. Now, in saying this, you know, it's very important they're still playing all of their other sports too.
Right.
But in terms of, you know, what age they could start to develop a little bit more strength specifically for golf, or, you know, speed or motion, probably in around sort of 10, 11, 12 age. Now different for every child, but in terms of golf specific training, that's probably the age that, you know, that they're going to start. So there's been a few golfers now that it's interesting because his background's not golf, obviously. So
right.
It's interesting whenever he gets a golfer. So it's nice for us to be able to bounce ideas off each other in terms of what's good and what's not good, you know?
Mm-hmm. No, it's not all about the beach. Where's the beach gun show, right? You know, it's like,
definitely not.
Right.
No, his background would be Gaelic football or else motocross. So they're completely different, not golf related at all. So it's nice to kind of, you know, talk about what's important, especially at a young age, you know, to sort of nurture that development that you're not doing too much at a young age, you know, kind of.
So one of the really cool, like, I mean, this is actually a really neat story, is, you know, you think about, you see them on TV and you see them on social media, but your proposal was kind of cool. Rory really set it up really well.
Yes.
Can you just give us a quick little how that went down? Because it's a really neat story.
So we've been very, very fortunate, lucky, I guess, we've been in Orlando for Christmas for the last, I think, 6 years. And every year for the last 6 years, I've been very fortunate to get to play Lake Nona. So it's obviously become my favorite course. I only get to play it once a year. And he isn't a golfer, but he'll always come because the lunch is so good, right?
They come for the food.
He comes for the food. He'll come and caddy, and, you know, I play, he rides the cart. And then after, we'll always go and have a nice lunch. So yeah, so the funny thing is, thinking back now, he did ask me on the day what my favorite hole was, right? 17th, hands down, 17th, beautiful par 3 with Lake Nona directly behind. It's just a beautiful hole. But then he asked me a second time, and I'm thinking, is he seriously not listening to what I'm saying? I already told him it was the 17th. Why is he asking me again? But anyway, I didn't, you know, I very rarely get mad. So anyway, we continued on, and we get to the 16th green. And looking back now, it's funny, but I had no idea this was coming. And we were on the 16th green. He was like, who's that coming behind us? And I was like, I don't know. It looks like a single, like one guy by himself. And he was like, gosh, he wasn't behind us a minute ago. And looking back now, he obviously was getting a little bit panicked, but I hadn't copped on. So I go on to the 17th, hit my tee shot. I'll never forget it. Left it short, needed to chip it up. So I lifted my, you know, a wedge and my putter, chipped it up, tapped it in, and lifted my club and went to walk off. He was going to grab the ball out of the hole, and then he starts talking, you know, about like how nice the golf course is, and I'm like, what's he talking? So I'm heading to the cart, which is directly in front, turned behind and he's down on one knee and he has a ring in his hand. Meanwhile, the man that was coming up behind us in 16 is now standing on the 17th par 3 tee box. So of course I was like, what? And he had a ring and I was like, he says my face was priceless because I was literally looking at the ring as though like, you know, is this like a ring out of a Christmas cracker or is this a but the ring is gorgeous. I think it just took me so much by surprise. Couldn't answer him. So he had to say it 2 or 3 times, you know, like, well, will you? You know, will you? And I was like, I'm sure my face was horrific because I didn't know. Well, I didn't know whether I was laughing or crying. So the funny thing is we then walk off the green. The man then plays a shot to 17. We kind of park around the side. I'm not sure if he saw or not. And I made a joke after. I was like, oh, I think your man saw. And Marie said, any luck you just would have thought I was reaching down to get your ball out of the hole will be all right. So I thought, how romantic. So it was lovely. It was really just the two of us, bar the one guy in the tee box. I don't think he saw. It was lovely because then we got to, well, I did play down 18, parred the last. Good way to finish. And then went in and had lunch, and yeah, it was nice, just the two of us, so it was good.
Oh, that's a great story.
Yeah.
Not everybody else plans it out like that. As just, you know,
no.
It's
good.
Fantastic. So good on him for not being a golfer, but having the wherewithal to pull that off. So hats off to you, Roar. That's pretty good.
I'm glad I didn't go mad about the fact he'd asked me that question twice. Can you imagine?
This is true.
Oh, he asked.
What are you doing? I told you. Aren't you listening? Right?
Oh, it's fun.
You don't ever listen to my golf stories. Like, come on, Rory, get with it. Right? Exactly. Oh my gosh.
No, it was good. It was a great surprise.
Well, you know what? That's an absolutely fantastic story, and I love it. It's really cool. But you know, one of the really cool. Now, you have some pretty cool stories, and your partner in crime seems to always be the Michelle Holmes chick. You know, she seems to be able to get you both into trouble, but also she takes care of you pretty well.
Oh, she does.
You both had an amazing life, you know, opportunity to go to Kenya and go kids in Kenya. And, you know, the journey was both educational and emotional for you guys. You got to see some unbelievable things. But the one thing I can say that I got from you guys is that you would want to go back. But what would you do differently, and what do you think would be the benefit to going back to based on what you guys saw?
Yeah, well, I think it was one of those ones where we didn't really know what it was going to be like as to where we were going.
Right.
So a bit of the unknown, but we did know after chatting to, you know, our friend Emmanuel that we were going out there to see. We knew that it would be beneficial for us to bring equipment with us. So we were trying to round up and get as much as we could. Again, not knowing, would old clubs do the job? Do we need new stuff? So we gathered as much as we could to bring out. But I think the main thing for us was going to the schools of kids that, you know, were from very deprived backgrounds. It was a strange one because they did look pretty good in their uniform. But then whenever you got to see where they lived, it was nearly hard to try and kind of work out how they presented so well to come to school, but yet they don't live in, you know, very nice accommodation. So there was one school in particular that we visited one afternoon, and we didn't really want to leave. We were in the classrooms, probably disrupting the whole class, you can imagine. I remember we got face paints, we got the little Kenyan flag on our cheeks. And even just, you know, like some of the kids were even just coming up and they were just like, I could feel them touching my hair. They'd never, you know, some of them, well, I couldn't believe it, but they'd never actually touched or seen blonde hair before, which I thought in this day and age, you know, most kids had. So I think that was probably going to that one school that they came from such a, you know, deprived background really kind of hit home, but was very enjoyable in the same respect, to spend time and whatever. So the funny thing is, after we left that school that day, we decided that was the school we wanted to go back to. So sure. Michelle and I, I'm trying to think what all we did. We went straight to a supermarket, and we decided that we would get what we could. So we thought we'd make them up kind of like a little, you know, like a little fun pack. So we got nice things, like we got jelly and, you know, sweets and chocolate and different things. But then we also went to a stationery store and got pencils and rubbers and sharpeners. And I'm telling you, her and I had the best crack that evening, sitting making up these little backpacks, or not backpacks, you know, little goodie bags. that we were going to go back. So it was lovely then the fact when we did go back and we did go and spend a bit more time with them, but then their faces whenever we were giving them, you know, this small little gesture.
Right.
And to us, like, you know, it wasn't very expensive, but to them it was like they couldn't believe they, you know, got all this. So I think it was wee things like that. Yes, there was golf involved, and you know, that was fun, but it was really those sort of moments that kind of made it extra special. So I think, to answer your question, if we were to go back, I'm sure there's loads of schools like that. We were only, you know, fortunate enough to spend time in one, but there are so many kids that are deprived out there that you don't, you know, until you're really there and in it.
I've got an interesting idea. I really, because I remember John Bryan or John Godwin saying they do this, but I thought if we say there was a collective 5 or 6 of us, right, as coaches, sponsored by US Kids, almost a US Kids golf mission, but we get all our kids to donate their shoes, their clubs, and their clothes that they have left over, right, and they grow out of, and they don't know what to do with.
Yeah.
And we ship it to Atlanta, but US Kids ships it to Kenya, and we coordinated that when we go, you know, we distribute it to the right kids, and you know, give them
huge. That would be so big. Like, I think we even I'm sitting, you know, reminiscing of it and telling it to you, you don't even really, Doug, get to understand it until you're there and you see it. You know, it's I'll never forget as well, like it was tough. One of the days we were in the school, I remember I had to go to the toilet, as you do, and I didn't even go, like, and that's saying something. The I'm sure it was okay for all of them, but the staff toilet in the school, it was nearly like a bathroom that hadn't been cleaned in a long time. Like, it just, so even we, things like that, and we take all that for granted. Like, our kids are in schools that are pristine and so clean, and so I think that really kind of hit home. That was a hard, you know, but yeah, something like that would be great. Or I actually thought you were going to suggest that a squad of coaches go, because it was good. Michelle and I had a ball, but
well, I think we should, but that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, outside of, you know, Emmanuel, like, I mean, I'm sure we could figure out how to go and you know, figure out a way to, you know, get US Kids to drop in. Blazer already said he's in. I'm sure I could probably rustle up a couple more coaches.
Yeah, because it's funny, like,
clear, right?
Yeah, Michelle and I, we were able to do a lot in the short time we were there. We were there for 10 days in total, but like, one of the schools we were at, I'll never forget it. There was her and I and maybe 2 other coaches helping out, but there was maybe, like, I don't want to exaggerate, but
Oh, you froze. Hold on. Come back to me, Zoe. Is there beer? I don't know, Colin. I don't know if there's beer. She's frozen. I hope she doesn't leave. We've been on for a really good amount of time. This should be fun. Oh, Zoe, you froze. Okay, I'm going to kick her out. All right. Hang tough, everybody. Can you still hear? Oh, here she is here again. Is that her? Let's go here. Add. Let's see if we can get her back in here. Can you still hear me? Don't know what happened with the Wi-Fi. Masters. Wish it was on. Well, it's going to be on in October, right? Nice head cover. How's that? That's kind of cool, eh? Thanks, Blazer. All right, so I'm waiting for you. Thanks, Justin. Where'd she go? Do I have to cancel and bring her back in? 1 second. Hold on. All right, let's try this again. Let's see if I can bring her back. I know. I just asked you to come back in, Zoe. There we go.
Yeah, I thought you cut me off there.
No, you froze. You froze.
Oh, okay.
I had to kick it out and then bring you back in. So,
okay, we're back.
So you were right in the middle of how you guys were at this one school. There's only 2 other coaches, you and Michelle, and there had to be how many kids?
Like maybe 300. So,
oh my.
Like, you can imagine, it was a matter of, you know, a safety line, lining them all up. But even they were getting hit this one shot and they were made up. So you kind of felt like for Michelle and I normally having our, little groups of 6, little groups
Sure.
of 8, and so much, we kind of felt like, gosh, we could have done so much more there, but obviously we only could do what we could do. So yeah, it definitely, yeah, completely different. Great experience, fantastic experience. It really was.
Well, I think that's something that we honestly and truly, I think we could get an envoy. I already had like Blazer and Colin Bykowski, and I know you, Bell, and myself.
Yeah.
That was something that I think would be something we should seriously sit down with U.S. kids and talk about, because it would be a really cool, almost like a church, a church,
Well, nearly a mission, a way to
like
give back. Or yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I agree.
yeah, I think that would be amazing. So here's an interesting question, and it's kind of, I don't know if it's a hard one or not, but it's like what's the hardest thing about being located in Ireland and a golf professional? Because
Okay.
because here's, and what I mean by that is you don't have like you don't really have the, you're 5 hours ahead, you got to work on your timing, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, what do you find are some of the challenges for you?
Well, I want to say the biggest one, but I know you're going to agree with me on this, where you are, is the weather. Like the weather is a challenge. But in terms of where I teach, I'm very lucky that I do have a shelter teaching bay
Nice.
and also a driving range. Like it's great, but the weather is a big thing. And actually, this year, like I don't even feel like 2020's got going, because right after the PGA show in the end of January, we had shocking weather. The golf course was closed for, I want to say, like 12, 13 days in a row because of all the rain and the wet weather. So it's really challenging that way. But at the same time, whenever we get a spell of weather like we've had the last week during lockdown, it's been great because it was, really warm. And so, yes, we can get freak weather, but probably one of the hardest things, yeah, is the weather. And I know you'd mentioned earlier, Doug, about a lot of your kids are now having these great setups at home with, with nets. And I know a lot of Michelle's kids have proper swing room setups with launch monitors. And
I have a few of those too.
yeah, bonkers.
Yeah.
So cool though. So a lot of, like, I want to say we're nearly a little bit behind in that, where there's not many kids that would have that sort of, setup or whatever. So yeah, I want to say weather's probably the biggest thing. Weather and facilities, I guess. But I am lucky at the facility that I'm at, I have to say.
There, right there is the opportunity to build the Zoe Allen Golf indoor training facility, right? And Rory's the trainer, so he does all the work with everybody. It's I'm sure you wouldn't have problems finding a few investors in that. Damn it, Horn. But I mean,
that might be my plan.
well, I think it would be a really cool thing, because if it's my friend Gareth. He just partnered with the hotel up there. where the Irish golf are located. What's the name of the land?
Carton,
Pardon?
Carton House in Dublin, is it?
No, no. The Silv. I can't remember what it's called. Anyways, but he just opened a Raflewski golf school
Oh,
in
nice.
at this place, which is I mean, I'm butchering it. I have no idea what the name of it's called,
Yeah.
but it looks like Salant or something like that in terms of what I don't know how to pronounce it in the Gaelic way.
Yeah.
Steve, help me. Steve, if you're still on this, help me what the pronunciation of it is. Anyways, but
Oh, Sleeve
oh,
Russell.
that's Steve. Yeah, Steve Russell.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like a PG, the Irish PGA National Training Academy.
Yes. So
Yeah.
he just
Very
partnered with those guys,
cool.
and he's opening up a Raflewski Golf Academy, which is for short game and all that stuff, which is really
Nice.
yeah, it's really neat. So I wouldn't put that totally out of your business plan, Miss Accountant. I think you could definitely put the numbers to pad to paper and build it because you are creating and changing lives of these kids. And as these kids get bigger and grow, and you become the center of attention even more, you're going to need the facility to help you carry those things out, right? Because you're going to have to eventually hire somebody to run all those things behind you because I don't know. You might have a baby. You might have a family. Who knows, right? That
Nice.
can happen.
Yeah, I know it is. You try and kind of look at what's ahead. It's yeah, exciting but daunting too.
It's a little daunting. So that actually brings me to this next question: is where's Zoe Allen in the next 5 years? 5 years.
Uh,
Where are you?
that is a tricky one. That is a hard one. I know really we should all have the business plan laid out, and I wish I could say I definitely do, but I suppose the last 4 years I've really been enjoying what I've been doing, trying to become more and more qualified, spend time with people like, you guys, and trying to kind of develop as a golf coach, which I think, the last 4 years have been great. So I suppose, you know, grow my own brand, try and expand my business. But, with that, it is going to come. You're going to have to get more people on board. You're going to have to, so I suppose it's trying to become not necessarily bigger, but definitely better at what I do.
Cool.
Trying to just become.
You got a couple suggestions came in here. A couple suggestions came in. Justin says CEO of US Kids.
Okay.
Michelle says you have to do a couple more PGA shows before you start kicking out a baby.
And not anytime soon, Michelle.
There you go. But I actually think so. You've been a great junior coach, and you and I have gone to some family and youth conferences and stuff like that, and we always seem to pick out some really good nuggets out of this. But where do you think you need to improve Zoe for her development to help her juniors in the future? Where do you think the next thing is for you?
Well, it's funny, actually. I've been the last couple of weeks, having all this extra time on our hands. I've been doing a lot of sort of research and study more into a lot of actually what you do, Doug. So I'll have to pick your brain on this, but more into the performance end. So I do feel like probably the majority of my kind of golf school, if you like, is now I thoroughly enjoy what I do, but I know I kind of need to try and broaden it a little bit.
Sure.
A lot of what I currently do is sort of the younger kids, introduction into golf, beginner level. Like I do coach a few, good players performance wise, but I think nearly if I had a better kind of performance platform, that would help too. So if you like, it's nearly looking at all the stepping stones and just trying to kind of fill them all in. Whereas at the minute, I kind of feel I've got a couple at this end,
Sure,
a lot at this end. So I guess trying to kind of develop the whole Zoe Allen golf thing. So trying to kind of look more in performance and different ideas. You're always trying to think outside the box in terms of what you can do differently, but
100%. It's one of those things, just like my hashtag, better never stops, right? You have to keep moving, right? So the really cool part about it is it's been so awesome to watch your rise over these last 4 years of just how you're growing the game in Ireland and how much you're having an effect on so many different juniors and people. And I mean, there's so many people here on this today who just enjoy you because you're just a spark of a wonderful person, myself included. I can't thank you enough for coming on. This hour has flown by.
I know. No, I was kind of nervous about that those 5 questions you were firing at me there, but actually they weren't too bad.
No, they weren't too bad. No, they weren't too bad. But you did a very good job of answering them very well. And you know what? I can't thank you enough. Please stay safe, stay healthy. And listen, anytime, send me questions. I'd be more than happy. I should share with you our Golf Canada PGA long-term player development PDF. So, buddy, you stay well. All the best to your family. And thanks so much.
I'll tell them you were asking about them.
Please do. All right. All the best. You have a great day.